Michigan. It's a much bigger part of our economy right here. And so I feel quite confident that the effects throughout most of the country, on average, are not going to be very large. Of course, the effects on the striking workers, the effects on the auto parts manufacturers in the surrounding cities, and the effects in particular parts of the economy, in particular the Midwest, are going to be a lot more intense. Um, I still think we don't want to overstate the case, but we're going to feel the pain here in the Midwest. And if you're somewhere else, you're probably enjoying a warmer winter and you're not worrying quite as much about the strike.
Well, that's part of the interesting notion of our national economy and the leverage and why it's so significant to certain parts of the population. That's part of what they're talking about, though, in that they can feel as though they're being disregarded because what is acutely felt and experienced by workers in this industry, and as you call a non-manufacturing economy, because it's not universally experienced for the workers, they feel as though they get the short end of the stick time and time again. But then the people of the economy lean in and they talk about prices of cars, of course. And you mentioned, buying a car as one example. How much could a um, strike hike prices for new and used cars?
Well, we've actually had a really nice experiment of what happens when it's really hard to get cars. Not a nice experiment, it was a miserable one. It was the COVID pandemic, and that shuttered a lot of factories throughout the country, and it also shuttered international trade as well. And we saw that cause car prices to spike a lot. Laura, can I come back to something you said? Because I think it's really important. For a lot of people throughout the economy, as inflation has risen, a lot of them have enjoyed some wage rises to try and catch up a little bit. That's not been the case for the UAW. Because it's a union sector, they signed a 4-year contract. They signed it way back 4 years ago, before we'd ever heard of COVID, and before we ever saw the post-COVID inflationary surge. So workers throughout a lot of the rest of the economy have actually had a little bit of a chance to catch up to some of the worst of the pain of inflation. That's not been true for these folks because they've been on a very long run contract. And interestingly, that last contract had no cost of living clauses in it at all. So they've really fallen behind more than other workers have, which is why some of the numbers you just showed on your screen might strike some of your viewers as looking pretty big.